Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Will,
Hello, everybody.
he's hello everybody.
Yeah, that's my name.
It's his new name he's taken up the mantle of.
Pseudonym.
Pseudo Wudo. I hate that freak. I hate that Pokemon so much. And Bonsly.
Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah.
fan. Yeah,
Worst
not
Pokemon.
at
If
all.
I saw one, I'd drop kick it.
Well, that would probably
No
hurt since it's
hesitation.
a rock
No,
type.
it's okay. I have steel toe boots.
Oh, that's
And
true.
legs of
You do.
steel.
You do have steel toe
Cured in the
boots.
sun for a fortnight.
Dude, if you cured your legs in the sun for a fortnight,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have skin anymore.
Well, they'd be cured. So
Dude, you burn in the moonlight.
I'd probably be glistening in the moonlight from radioactivity. Well, we finally got around to it.
Finally.
We're reviewing Gundam 1, the first movie that compiles the 0079 show.
Not to be confused with James Bond.
Yeah, he's
007.
not in this one. He's in the next
No.
one. Don't get your hopes up right now though. But yeah, the show is the original series. You watched it on Crunchyroll dubbed, and I rewatched it on YouTube in one of the worst dubs I've ever heard. So essentially, I'll go over some synopsis first. So like, if you haven't watched this before and you don't want spoiled, please click away and watch it and then come back. It's episodes 1 through 13 of the original series or the movie, and it compiles all that. So essentially, we start out on Side 7, a space colony. Earth has gone to war with people who have gone off onto colonies to live. They started a Duchy of Zeon. This was formed after a disagreement with the Daikun family and the Zabi family, and they have now decided they want to be the supreme ruling people of the universe for some reason. But they also just want their freedom from Earth, so they go to war with the Earth Federation. The first 8 months, they say 50% of the population of both sides was lost. And so on Side 7, the Federation is secretly making a mobile suit. At this point, all the Zabi family's mobile suits are outranking anything that the Federation has. They're winning the war. But the Federation has a trick up their sleeve. They're building the RX-78-2 Gundam. The main character's name is Amuro. His father created the Gundam and created White Base, which is the ship that all the refugees will be escaping Side 7 on when eventually Zeon invades and tries to steal or otherwise destroy the RX-78. And on their journey, Amuro takes up the mantle of pilot for the Gundam. He goes with them to protect the White Base as they try to get to Earth. They stop at Luna 2 on the way. They tell him, you gotta go to Earth. We can't help you here. And then once they're in Seattle, they get in another big fight. We'll talk more about this later, but and the movie ends with them on their way to Europe. So, yeah. First impressions, thoughts? You haven't seen it, but I have, so curious what you think.
Yeah, this was my first time watching. I had seen the first few minutes of the first episode one time, but other than that, this was the first time I watched it. So my first impressions are, it's kind of a weird thing that I like. My impression of it, it's like I don't love it, but I definitely don't hate it. And so it's like I find myself just like kind of chilling with it on in like the background, which usually when I watch stuff, I either like don't care about it at all, or I'm like fully engrossed in it, and that's all I want to do is focus on what I'm watching. But with this, I'm like watching it and also kind of like doing other things or whatever. And so I like it. I think it moves a little slow
Mm-hmm.
and kind of drags some things out, and like pretty much every episode, especially there in the middle, feels like uh Amuro in charge is kind of playing space tag and Amuro just gutting these other Zaku pilots. But I mean, oh,
Unceremoniously.
yeah, very unceremonious. Dude, if you're a Zaku pilot, you're getting your face melted and it's going to happen. But yeah, so overall, I would say it's a relatively positive, especially for it being I generally don't love 70s, 80s
Yeah.
cartoons,
It's
animation.
it's also very
So
rough. As someone who likes the series, I was not a big fan of this when I watched it at first, and it takes a lot to get into, and it's probably the weakest piece of media in the franchise, in my opinion, other than maybe a couple other things. It's kind of a hot take, but the pacing thing, the movie definitely fixes because it's like 2 hours for that entire grouping of episodes instead of 20-25 minutes an episode for 13 episodes. But it's still, I don't know, like it's rough. Like I find
it's just
myself,
vlog.
yeah, I would have it running in the
If we
background
weren't
too.
reviewing it, I wouldn't have watched it.
Right. Yeah. I do not blame you for that.
I mean, there's definitely some things I like about it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
overall, I would say not something I would typically watch.
Right. It has the opposite issue that Voltron has, where Voltron starts out way too fast.
Yeah, they are they could have covered they could have done the 13 episodes in like 4 episodes, but I get they're trying to like develop some things and everything, but a lot of it really like drags and like getting the refugees, that whole thing off the ship and like I mean that just goes on and on like
Yeah, and
every
they
episode.
use them as a plot device
Yeah.
most of the time. Like the only reason that they're there is to avoid fighting and to make the stakes higher. And it becomes a bit redundant, especially when they go to these drop off points and they're like, don't even ask us about the refugees. We do not want them. Like,
Well, and yeah, that's a good way to put it, a plot device. Like, I feel like some of the writing and stuff in it is pretty lazy
yeah,
and like not a lot happens in most of the episodes. And I mean, there's some character movement and growth development, stuff like that. But generally speaking, there's not even a whole lot of that. You're not
right.
really even getting to know the characters. Like when we were going down the character list before this, we're sitting there like, who even are half these
This
people?
is
Like,
this is something Zeta does a lot better. Like this show, kind of towards the end, you get a better character development thing going on. We're starting to see a turn in the characters around the time like
mhm,
Amuro meets his mom, and but he's just, I don't think he's a very interesting character, to be honest.
no
He's full of himself. When he gets in any kind of danger, he just kind of,
freaks.
yeah, he freaks out and curls up in a ball. And I mean, I can't say I wouldn't do the same, but like it's pretty redundant and it gets kind of annoying um
Yeah,
to deal with.
I felt like the first episode and the last couple episodes were way better than the
Yeah,
middle.
I will
And
agree.
I totally agree with Amuro. So they're obviously want you to like him and him be the protagonist and everything, but most of the series movie, however you watch it, I'm really annoyed by Amuro,
Yeah,
and he, is just so like whiny and like you said, arrogant and full of himself. And one of the interactions I really don't like, which seems to improve there at the very end, is him and Frau Bow, like, she is taking care of him, and she's a little bit naggy and everything, but she's clearly, like, a really good friend to him and takes care of him and watches over him, and, he wouldn't have even gotten evacuated if it hadn't been for her, and so she's really there for him throughout the whole thing, and yet a lot of times he's really cold to her, and, like,
yes.
she just has her mother and grandfather die right in front of her as she's trying to help Amuro,
And instead of
and it's
consoling her, he slaps her in the face.
he slaps her in the face, which I get, like, get a grip, you gotta get out of here. But it
But
was
then he
like
left her to run
immediately.
away, like, by herself.
Yes.
It's like, what are you
Didn't take
doing?
care of her. And like, there's one time where she's trying to cheer him up and everything, and she's like, she's not going, "Oh, woe is me, my mom and grandfather got killed."
Yeah.
She's like serving everyone and
Yeah,
helping
she's
everyone.
taking
And
charge in almost every episode she's in. Like, she's helping the refugees to the ship, she's serving people food, she's helping with crying babies on the ship. Like, it's constantly that she's helping people, and Amuro's like, "Well, I'm the only one who read the manual and knows how to pilot this
yeah,
thing, so I guess
and you
you have
can't do
to."
it. He
Yeah,
literally tells her you can't do it. And yeah, I was saying when I was watching it, I was like, Frau Bow should be the main
I
character.
agree.
She should be the protagonist because she's the
Hot take.
nicest person. But yeah, so Amuro's super annoying to me.
Yeah,
But
he's pretty bad.
I was telling you off the show, I wish I had kept a tally. Like, one of the defining traits of this show to me is how many times an episode can they say Amuro? And it's
Amuro.
usually Amuro, Amuro, like twice. And it's like everyone's obsessed with Amuro in the show. But
Yeah,
so we're gonna see how many times we can say it on this podcast.
yeah, luckily it's again, Zeta, much better. The main character, Camille, someone, like, walks up to him and they're like, "Camille, that's a girl's name." And he starts, like, getting in a fist fight with him, so they don't usually say his name much. But dude, Amuro, so tired of this guy already. Like,
Yeah.
he is very whiny. And
And like, go ahead, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know if it stems from, like, his parents being away. You see that he's, like, ripped from his home on Earth where, they're obviously they seem like they're pretty happy. He's quiet and content, and his dad brings him to space and kind of leaves him to himself while he's working on the war machine for the Federation. So, maybe that's part of it, but again, it's kinda brushed over, at least for now.
Yes, that is what I would say. Like, everything at this point in the show feels super just brushed over real quick.
Yeah.
And you're not really learning, even though you've gone through 13 episodes, you're really not learning anything about
And,
anybody
like, I
hardly.
wouldn't
Now,
expect them to outright say things, but it's a little more subtle than subtle.
yeah. Well, and there's some situations where you're like, what is going on? Like, is Amuro ill? Is it some kind of thing with the Gundam connection? He's just like laying in the bed and
Yeah.
uh blanking out and all kinds of stuff like
Oh, like,
that.
when he
And
was sitting down and his eyes were like you could see the TV
yeah,
stepping.
yeah. And like, I'll say I agree with you. There is definitely an element of it, and this is part of the theme of the show, and we'll talk about that later. But is they're showing this is a kid plunged into a horrific war doing something he is not really qualified or old enough to be doing. But so obviously he is tired. He is a young kid, he is acting out and being whiny and stuff as any kid would be. But there's some situations where it just kind of like seems to go beyond like what is reasonable.
Right,
He's
it's
just
usually
being a
when
straight
he's
up.
needed most, he becomes very,
Yes.
like, attention seeking.
Yes, what's in it for me? Well, I know I'm not doing that. No, I'm
Yeah.
not following orders. I don't care if everyone dies. I'm tired. Then, like the one episode where he said, "Can you promise me I'll get to go to sleep after this?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me, dude? Like people's lives are at stake, and you're demanding a promise that you can take a nap? Like, just so
It's
Amuro's kind of a
not
loser to
great.
me, but
Yeah, I think he's second worst to me behind Kai. I don't like Kai either.
oh, dude, Kai is insufferable.
Yeah, he actually has character development at some point, but right now, Kai is awful. He's just very disrespectful to everyone. He's in the same boat as Amuro, except he's, like, somehow even more pompous about it,
His
and
whole
he isn't
character
useful.
exists to be pompous and
Yes,
sarcastic.
and demeaning of others, like, he's constantly like, "Oh, I'm better than you," and then he has no use. Like,
Yes.
the first time he was piloting, was he in the gun tank or was he in the gun cannon? I forget. whichever one he was in. The first time he's in it, he's like faced with an enemy, and he's like acting all macho before, and then he goes into battle and he freezes up and can't do anything. And it's one of the times when Amuro doesn't want to come out and help fight. So that was,
Taking a nap.
yeah.
I will
Um,
say though, if I had the mom that Amuro has, she gets introduced there at the end, dude, I understand why you would be a total loser because
yeah,
his mom is a straight up jerk.
yeah.
She is
So
a terrible mother.
let's go over that interaction. So he goes to see her because they land on Earth eventually, and she's working at this refugee camp. He goes into his old home, and it's overtaken by Federation soldiers who are drunk and being weird, and um basically he finally finds um like one of the neighborhood moms that used to be there when he was growing up, and she leads him into the direction where his mom is. He lands the core fighter there, and they're like, "Hey, you got to get this out of the way, or the Xeon base that's like right beside us, they're gonna find us." So the Xeon find him, or they're looking around because they saw that a ship landed, and Amuro's mom's like talking to him. He's like lying in bed trying to like hide because he's wearing Federation clothing, and then his pager goes off, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And he just straight up like murders someone, just unprompted, really. I don't know why he didn't change out of the Federation clothes when he got there, or put his pager on the ship. I feel like that would have been
I
probably.
think he didn't have time. I
Oh,
think they
okay,
were got there so fast that he had to just like hide real quick.
gotcha. So he defends himself because they were around him, probably going to maybe take him prisoner, but maybe they could have killed him, right? So he kills one of them, and his mom is like berating him about being a murderer, and then he is about to leave, and she continues to just be like, "Oh, I just, if you're the son I have now, then I don't want you," kind of thing. So he's pretty upset about this because he didn't want to be in this war, but he's kind of like, he has to pick a side now because he's on white base, and that's his current situation. Um, and I feel like towards the end of the episode, she meets back up with him, and she's hoping that he'll stay there for some reason, but he decides to make the choice to go back to the white base and travel with them. And Bright Noah is like, yeah, he's doing a great job. We're really proud of him. And she's super upset about the whole situation.
Yeah, I thought, okay, so first, I feel like I have to address the fact that they show the flashback scene where she refuses to go with
Right. Yeah.
Amuro and his dad onto the white base. And like, she just, her whole reasoning is basically, I've always lived on Earth. I don't think I can live in space. And it's like, okay, so you're just going to abandon your what looks to be a 3 to 5 year old
Yeah,
child.
and we see what the
Like,
side 7 looks like Earth on the inside.
yes,
Like there's
yes.
almost no difference.
It's not like you're living in a tin can in space. And
Well,
so she just well, I mean, like, it's not like crammed quarters in a, like, small ship
right.
before it gets attacked there. So she just any mother you would generally think would be like, it doesn't matter if she was living in a garbage truck, you know, she would go with her child. But she's just like, "Nah, I don't want to, see ya." And so that's the first thing where it's like, okay, she's a terrible mom. But then, yeah, he's in a situation where it's them or it's Amuro. He has to make a decision. Is he going to let them either kill him or capture him, or is he going to shoot him? And
and if they
it's a
capture
war.
him, no one can pilot the Gundam, at least in
Yes.
his eyes.
And they very well may, capture the Gundam and use it for Xeon. And so it's just like he has to make a decision in war, and there's not really even a decision to be made. And so he does it, and she just flips on him and treats him like he's a homicidal maniac. and this isn't the son I raised. You're so violent. Why are you so violent? And I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed to call you my son and all this stuff. And it's like, girl, this is a war. He is a soldier, and he was going to be killed if he didn't do this.
Maybe he
And
wouldn't have become a soldier if you had gone to space with them.
exactly, exactly. And then you could have had him evacuating
Right.
earlier and all this stuff. But so and then at the end there's just kind of that weird thing where she's just like sobbing and everything, and it's like, what do you care? You obviously haven't cared about him the whole time. And I kind of felt like that was a I don't know what's coming next, but it felt like a turning point because instead of like being a child, he's saying, I'm moving on. Goodbye, mom. I'm going back and doing my duty as a soldier. And so I thought that was some character development. I also thought it was annoying, but it was a powerful scene when the drunken soldiers are in his house and are making fun of him about, you know, oh, do you miss your mommy and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, dude, what do you think? And so I thought that was a pretty good scene.
Yeah. Um, so another pretty prominent character, Bright Noa, he's, he's brought onto the ship, and we see that the captain of the ship on White Base gets injured pretty early on. And so he's unable to fulfill his duties, and so he essentially gives Bright authority over the ship, and he's super inexperienced. I don't think he's ever captained a ship before. He's not even a lieutenant yet until the end of what we've watched. Um, so he's taking charge, but he's also just kinda not good at what he does. He's kinda condescending of the people around him, but he gets enough done that they're surviving, and that's kinda what matters. And he also he has a knack for slapping people. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's just pretty much his defining characteristic there is kind of just hauling off and slapping teenagers and stuff.
Yeah, he likes to do that.
There's a lot of people getting slapped in the face in this show.
Mhm.
But I think overall he's a
Yeah, I th
pretty good leader, and they should definitely be listening to him more instead of constantly arguing with him. But
yeah, at first he's very inexperienced, but as it goes, like, he takes charge and does things pretty well. Um, like, he's good at delegating, and at least, at the beginning, he's very good at setting aside his differences with characters like Amuro, who are being very unruly, and he's like, "I'll still let you pilot this, because we need you, but, we need to make a compromise here." So, I do like that about him.
yeah,
Another character on the bridge of the ship, Mirai, she becomes more important later. She is supposedly from a famous family or something, and she is a pilot. Um, and I have a feeling she's never piloted something like to the scale of that, but she's like pretty good at it. Like she was able to like land inside of a stadium in Seattle. Like I don't know. I feel like that's probably a pretty difficult thing. I'm not sure how that kind of ship works. Not that it's a realistic thing to think of, but just thought that was an interesting.
yeah. There's a lot of characters like having to step up and do things that they really don't weren't trained for, but it's
Yeah.
just the situation.
Yep. Same thing with the Hayato, Kai, and Ryu. We talked about Kai. He's kinda not great. Ryu seemed like he was already fairly experienced and at least knew what was going on. He didn't know how to like man the guns in that first episode, but he seems to actually. I don't know if he has like military experience or something, but he
I
seems.
believe he was the one who said he was in like the pilot academy or
That
whatever.
seems right. Yeah, he's kind of like the more like built guy that's in that group, and I think he pilots the gun tank or gun cannon, one of the two. Sometimes he's in the core fighter. Um, but yeah, these characters we don't really see much of them yet, so we can talk about them more later. Um, Amar's dad, kind of we brushed on that a little bit. He was not present most of the time, and you saw, like, at the beginning, whenever everyone's evacuating, he's like, "Dude, you gotta get to the white base, like, why are you out here?" And Amuro doesn't listen to him. Eventually, the schematic falls in front of him after an explosion out of happenstance, and he's reading it. And while Amuro is, like, fighting, a hole gets torn inside 7, and we see Amuro's dad fly out, so that was a little odd, but we
You
don't
haven't
really
really
see much of
seen
him.
what's happened. Can I pause on that?
Yeah, yeah.
So, one of the things that seemed to be a recurring thing in the show, and something I definitely wanted to visit when we did this review, is that manual just magically
Yes!
explodes out of
Right
this
in front of
ship,
him in
this
perfect
transport
condition.
thing. Everything else is blown up, the people are dead, everything's engulfed in flames, but the manual just flies out, lands directly open at his feet, completely
Yeah,
unharmed, and then he just sits there
in
amidst
the
all of
middle of the
this,
war.
reading a manual, and then this happens again later. He just sits there and is, like, reading something and just hanging out, and, like,
And he could have shared
all of
this
his
manual with anyone, like, anyone could be
yeah, but
cross-trained to
he's like,
pilot the
"No,
thing.
only me." And it's just, like, so strange to me that there's different scenes in the show where it's just like, "Let's have a reading break, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna read them." Oh, and there's, like, once where, oh, he's gonna burn up on reentry, and he's just like, let me pull out the manual real quick," and
It's so
sees,
convenient.
"Oh, look, I can put this film on and my ship my Gundam won't burn up," and it's like, would that even work once you were
Right,
at that temperature
right.
to
Like,
then
it
bring
wouldn't
out
it
the
burn
film?
wouldn't it, like, cook you like a Hot Pocket once
I
the heat's
feel
already
like
in there? Like
I feel like if you were going to use that, you would have had to have used it before you were engulfed in flames at thousands of degrees,
100%
but
agree. What
whatever,
am I
let's
to
take a
say?
reading break, and the book is not burning up, by the way.
Yeah.
But,
The
yeah,
magic
so
book.
that was just something when I was watching it, I was just, like, laughing about how ridiculous it was that
Man, yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to bring up too because it's very noticeable. It's not even like, "Oh, yeah, he had it on his desk at home," or like he took it from his or something. No, it just some random people in a car blew up and it landed out of a crate in front of him. It's like
yeah, those people last, like, 2
they're like,
seconds.
"You gotta get
Their
back to
whole role is
safety.
to
We're
bring in that
protecting you," and
manual.
then they just get murked immediately.
It's definitely, they are trying to create a feeling of, like,
Destiny,
destiny, you
yes.
know?
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. At first, this show is very grounded and very, realistic sci-fi, I guess you could say. But as we hear towards the end, as Matilda's talking about these new types, the show does take a turn, and the whole, like, franchise kinda turns towards maybe the idea of, some of these people are like espers or have these, like, special abilities that help them pilot in space better than other people. So it's not completely unbelievable with it having this, like, weird mythos thing going on, but, like, it's still really funny if you're expecting nothing more than something super serious and grounded.
Well, and it's a good and bad of, you know, they're showing you war, and
Right.
so things like that would happen where you would say something to somebody and then they blow up right in front of you, you know what I mean? Like, that
Yeah.
would happen.
Yeah, they wanna
But
make
if
you
that
feel
happened,
that immediately that
the
people can just get obliterated.
yes. They are doing a really good job of making it feel like, "Hey, this is a war," and, like, I think the clear theme, and I don't wanna go out of order here, but, like, the clear theme of the movie is saying war is awful,
Yeah.
and they're doing a really good job at that and showing that everyone gets wrapped up in war, even the people who are just average everyday people, and
Well,
so I think that's pretty well done.
even at the beginning, like you see Bright talking to Amuro's dad on the ship, and he's like, "Yeah, kids are guerrilla fighters in war. Like, is this true?" And then his own son ends up being one of these. I think that's a good callback and a bit of a bittersweet kind of irony, you know?
Yeah.
Like he made the weapon
And
that turned him into a soldier.
yes. And, one thing I find kind of interesting about this is you are kind of left with you're supposed to just assume that the Federation is good and Xeon is bad. And that seems to be the case, judging by the morality of the people. However, it never really clearly tells you, and even Amuro kind of is questioning this, what exactly led to this? Who is good? Who is bad? And, you,
Right.
what are the politics of this? Not that you want him to really get into that
They
type of
they
thing,
will.
but
They will.
I figured this seemed like it was going a little intergalactic politics type. But also, so I just want to go on record here. I'm a very big fan of black and white, good and bad, good characters, bad characters. I don't like all this, oh, it needs to be more complicated and more gray than that. However, I do like in this, like there's the scene where the two Xeon uh scout patroller guys go and help that woman and her baby
Right.
and give them supplies and stuff like that. And so it's like, well, not all of them are bad.
Yeah, it's like in
And so,
Star Wars, like these people are in the Empire, like still like supporting their families, but they were drafted to be stormtroopers against their will. Like,
and this is like, and don't want to make it too realistic, but like you can take the Civil War even in America.
yeah,
And the way we are taught that, and I don't want to get into it too much, is just like South, everyone's a horrible slave owner. North, everyone is a wonderful freedom fighter. And that isn't how it really was. I'm obviously not getting on here and like saying anything good about the Confederacy. I'm just saying that there were people who they didn't get involved in the war on the South because they were slave owners. They got in the war because they were more or less drafted or pushed into it. And there were a lot of people who didn't have anything to do with slavery. They were just representing their home, their state. And so, like, you had situations with a real civil war where it wasn't all good guys versus bad guys. And that's kind of the way that kind of makes it look is
yeah.
maybe it's a little more complicated than just one good side and one bad side. But
And with that, I feel like this show has a really good parallelism with the American Revolution. At least with some of the more granular details shown in the origin. Before the shift to the Zabi family, the Daikun family had these principles of like, hey, we should move out into space, have our freedom, shouldn't be controlled by the Federation on Earth. And so that's how this whole conflict kind of started before the Zabi family had a hostile takeover. And I think that this kind of I don't know, like having these historical parallels with it makes it more interesting. Because it's not outright just like it, but you can tell that they are referencing some real events in that, you know?
yeah, there's definitely a backdrop of real war, real
A
situations,
lot of American history
propaganda.
related stuff too, I find interesting. I don't know. At least an observation of mine.
It's definitely heavy for what seems like a kid's show.
Yes.
Like, dealing with death and
They don't hold
all kinds of
punches.
stuff. No, I mean, people are
We
just
see
getting
Frau Bow's
slaughtered.
family die on screen in front of her
Yeah, in the first like
in the
10
first
minutes.
minute. Yeah.
And then it's like, get up and quit being sad about your mom. And
Yeah, and also the individualism even with some of these side characters, like at the beginning, like the Xeon grunts that are supposed to be observing what's happening inside Seven, and one of the two, Slender, decides he's gonna go off and do his own thing and go fight and try to get medal and recognition, but it kind of leads to the whole conflict that we see in this series. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
all
just
because of
like
one guy who, like,
you have these little moments where these unimportant characters have this like butterfly effect on the rest of the series, you know?
and I mean, that would it is realistic,
Yeah.
that sort of thing does happen. Some yahoo, does something stupid, and then
I
there's
find it
consequences for that.
interesting how I don't know, how accepting Amuro or not Amuro, how accepting Char is of those issues too. Like we see in that first episode, he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll let them do that. It won't happen again." But then he sends people to their death sometimes, you know.
A lot.
A lot. You can already kind of see the ways he's manipulating people. Um
Yeah, and at the very beginning, they almost try to make it out like, oh, he really cares about his men or whatever. And then you find out really
yeah.
quickly, you're like, nah, dude, this guy is just, everyone is cannon fodder to him.
And just to
And that
clarify,
was,
he's the ace pilot for the Xeon.
yes.
He's not the highest in the ranks, but he's feared by many.
And then I mean, you have the situation, he really fakes being a friend
Yeah,
to,
it's super convincing too. Like I at least for me, I wouldn't have been able to tell that he had any ulterior motives against Garma.
yeah, he's definitely controlled by that ambitions he has, his own motives, and, he does a really good job of hiding that. However, like when he unplugs the comms thing, I would have been, which he was a little bit suspicious, but I would have been like, okay, yeah, like this guy does not is not my friend, but
Right.
I don't think he learned that lesson quick enough. But
Yeah, and he has too much of a villain laugh, you know?
yeah.
He'll just start laughing and it's like maybe don't do that. It's a little suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey Garma, blame this on the misfortune of your birth. It's a
Yeah.
crazy line. We also see a relationship with him and possibly Sayla, one of the other members of the crew aboard the White Base. There's some illusion that maybe they're siblings. Um,
Mhm.
they don't really get into that much yet, but it's mentioned in passing, and it definitely had a great effect on both characters. I should say profound effect.
Yeah, that seems like something they're going to be revisiting
Yeah.
later for sure.
So Garma, he was a good friend, but um gets absolutely murked. Um
Way too trusting for sure.
yeah,
Way too seeking glory.
approval and glory, yeah. And he also really didn't want to be in the war, it seemed like either. He wanted to just go away with the girl that he had. But was kinda he's the youngest in the Zabi family and kinda has to show that valor, and I think in getting caught up in that, it really leads to his own downfall, whether it was a betrayal or not.
Which that's part of the realism that we talked about. I mean, how many times do you think that's happened,
Yeah,
in different countries and different time periods? One person doesn't want to be in the military. One person doesn't want to go to war, and either they are forced to, or it's a family thing, or, whatever. They they end up having terrible, consequences because of something they didn't want to do, or like we see politicians make decisions and who has to go fight that war, not them, 18-year-old kids or whatever. And so, it's a kind of a good discussion. And then we see, his fiance tries to take revenge, and it ends up leading to her and a lot of other people's deaths. and, all of that heartbreak that really didn't have to happen probably, but, everybody out for glory and honor and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Super, super messy. Um, and of course, the other members of the zombie family, they kind of get into this. Degwin is the old guy. He's like the leader of the zombie family. He's super evil. At least he looks to be. I think he is very evil. Um, he kind of brushed off Garma's death, his own son. Giran, the guy that looked like Giovanni, is I think he's the eldest brother. Don't quote me on that though. He's taking charge against Whitebase now. He's like the next up in line to like try to take him down. And then we have Dozel and Kycilia, the other siblings. They seem more upset about the death of their brother than Giran does. And of course, Degwin doesn't really seem to be. There's kind of there's a speech at the end where Giran's trying to get public sway because of it, and then Degwin has kind of a little scene where he's like looking at a picture of Garma, but they seem very very cold to the situation.
Yeah, so there's one talk through with you. I can ask you, maybe I
Yeah.
misinterpreted something. It felt like to me, the king was not wanting to exploit Garma's
Mm.
death for, a military political purpose. And he wanted to actually grieve his son and not foment more violence. Whereas to me, it felt like the siblings and the younger people, I mean, I think they were legitimately angry about
Yeah.
it, but they were also, we can use this to stir up war. And so instead of being grief stricken, they were angry. Whereas to me, it felt like the king was sorrowful and just wanted to grieve. And they were like, no, we can, make everybody want to fight the Federation because of this. And so they just used, never
Right.
let a
Right.
crisis go to waste, that type of thing.
Yeah, I
And
think
so
that's
they
a
just,
really good way of looking at it. I didn't even notice that, but now that you're saying it, I do see that.
and I feel like that's another real, I mean, people use funerals of public figures all the time to push whatever their agenda is rather than actually talk about the person or their
Right.
family or grieve. They just use it as a club, and it's like that is how people in that realm are. But
Yeah, and we'll see more of the zombie family soon. We can
super
see
nice
that
guys.
yeah, super nice guys. Char does not like them. And there was at one point whenever it was when Garma died. He said something like, "It doesn't matter who else sees it as long as the zombie family gets the message," or something like that. Thought that was a
It's
very
very
grim
Shakespearean.
thing. Yeah,
There's a lot of family and backstabbing and,
it's a space
honor
opera.
and yeah, it's like you said, space opera for sure. Like feel like I'm, watching Macbeth or something.
Supposedly, they're making a Hollywood movie again about this. I don't know how,
Oh, okay.
dude. I don't know how they will make a single movie about this. It seems
Yeah, they
pretty
would do
packed for one movie, but I
kind of
don't.
like Voltron, the straight to Amazon
Oh
Prime movie.
man.
I
Wait,
I
what?
have remember Henry Cavill, his
Oh,
movie.
is that still happening?
Yeah, it's still happening.
Dude, let's
Uh
go.
there was an update on it not very long ago, but
We will
yeah,
be
it's going.
reviewing that.
Oh, for sure. I'm
Day
hoping they
one.
don't ruin it and it's not horrible, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
we'll
It,
see
it
what they let
sounds
them
like it's
do.
supposed to be kind of future from what some of the shows and stuff were, but
Okay,
I don't
that
think
could
it's
be
supposed to
exciting.
connect at all to the DreamWorks show. I think it's supposed to be based totally off the older
Yeah, I
shows.
would assume so. I'm sure he's seen both though,
Oh yeah. He's our dude, man. He's
for
got our back.
sure. All
That
right.
was one where after we watched the DreamWorks Voltron, we wanted to watch the 80s Voltron.
Yeah, and it's rough.
And the first couple I got through about 2 or 3 episodes and I was just like, "Wow, this is
Yeah,
not good."
it's like this, except a little
Yeah.
bit worse.
I just don't like any cartoon animation stuff from the
No,
80s.
I
Just
my I think my favorite era of animation is probably 90s, like, anywhere from, like, 92, 94 to, like, 98, 99.
yeah, I totally agree. I
The
think the
cell
90s
shading just
is
looks a lot prettier. Again, Zeta has that 90s kinda look to it, and it looks a lot prettier on the eye too. Doesn't look as
yeah,
blobby.
I think 90s animation one, I think the shows were the best, but I also think the animation was the best and the prettiest, and
Yeah.
you could say some of that for really early 2000s as well, but,
It started to get
uh,
too much into the 3D
yeah,
assisted animation.
totally agree.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the show before, but, there were some very palpable, jarring transitions in Pokemon. One of them happens towards the end of the Johto arc, one of them happens towards the end of Ruby and Sapphire. There's other jarring animation shifts in the show, and that can be very alienating and make people not want to watch. I that's
Yeah,
part of what I love so much about the original Pokemon series is that just the character of the animation. But
I agree.
that's one thing in this. This is not like we said. This is 80s animation. This is not 70s 80s animation. It's not 90s. And there's some stuff in it that I find to be pretty good, especially for the time period, and then there's some stuff I find to be horrible,
Right.
but I think, the Gundam, the main Gundam looks really cool to me. I like that. Some of the background scenery stuff looks good, but a lot of the people and stuff, it just looks so bad.
Or, like, when they
Uh,
run into the foreground or background, you get a lot of weird depth issues or, like, stretching of
yeah.
things that have been animated. I've
Yeah, they
also
just kinda
noticed.
turn into blobs.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you can actually see the cell that's over other cells. Like, if it's in space, you can see a
Oh, I hadn't
star or,
noticed that.
like, if there's a mistake on a cell, sometimes you can see a little, like, speck of paint where it's not supposed to be moving around. But that's just a nitpick, but it's something that I noticed quite a bit watching this.
It's very clear who they were spending money on animating and who they weren't. It's like
Right. Well, it's to sell
Amuro, Frau
toys, we gotta
Bow,
sell toys.
yeah, Char. I mean, they have way more detail, and then there's so many characters where it's like, here's a dot for the eyes and
Yeah.
nose and mouth, and that's it. And it's just like
Yep.
it's really funny.
There's some really I don't remember everything about it, but there's some really interesting stories about, like, the creation of the show. They when Sunrise was making it, I could be completely wrong, but it seems like I remember someone talking about, there was this show called it's like I think it's Starship Yamato. It's like a Navy ship in space, and the people who worked on that, they were trying to get them to work on this. And they were worried that it'd be too much like a toy sales thing. But when they pitched it, they're like, "Oh no, this has a lot of depth to it. Like this could be something good." So that's why they eventually picked it up. But again, that doesn't stop low budget from like distorting things and making it a little
Yeah.
cheap looking.
Yeah, there's definitely some scenes where you're like, "Bro,
Has that like
that's
early
rough."
Transformers and GI Joe kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one while we're talking 80s animation, I've gotta say this. So, when we were roommates, we tried watching some of the 80s GI Joe, and it
I
was one
love
of the
that
worst shows I've
episode.
ever watched in my life, and I know a lot of people like it, but I was just, like,
Dude,
cringing,
it's
it was
so
so
funny
bad,
too. Like they're just
"Oh,
getting into these like
Joe."
situations. They aren't even conflicts, they're just situations they're getting into.
And then I forced myself to watch the original '80s Transformers
Good
series.
stuff.
when I was like 30 or 31. And the whole time I'm just like gritting my teeth, just suffering through it. I did probably skip some episodes. I was like, this is terrible. And I say that with I love Peter Cullen and Casey Kasem voiced Transformers in that. So
Yeah, this says
obviously some
nothing
good
about the
voice actors.
quality of the voices and music
No,
and
just the show writing, the animation, so bad. And I mean, obviously it's for kids, but it
yeah,
just was so bad. 80s cartoons really feel like they're for kids, whereas 90s cartoons felt like were for the kid to watch with their parent. And that's what they always said about Batman the Animated Series. They
yeah,
wanted to make a show that the dad would want to watch with the kid. And I feel like
dude,
that's a big,
so good.
that's why I hate 80s cartoons is I'm like, wow, this is so childish because I grew up with, 90s early 2000s cartoons that were like, "Let's talk about death," and
Yeah.
but anyway,
Well, that's the situation with this, like, this one came out, late '70s, right? And then the next series comes out 10 years later, and it's a 10-year jump in the actual show, and there's, like, crossover characters and stuff. And you immediately get that, like, gritty feeling that you get from, like, the '90s Spider-Man cartoon. Like, it feels like they've taken it up a notch, everyone's cooler, everyone has, like, I don't know, like, their own things going on. It isn't as like whiny in tone. It's more like what can we do to make this more awesome? And that's something with this. Like you just get this very just like there's serious things going on, but it comes across as very silly feeling a lot of the time. Very
I feel
whimsical.
Speed Racer a lot when I'm
Yes,
watching this.
precisely.
It's it's
Where there
so,
are
like, slapstick
serious
and
situations, but it's playing it off way too silly.
yeah. I feel like they did not do humor well at all
Mm-mm.
in the '80s. It's just annoying,
Yeah.
and like we've talked about how much we love the DreamWorks Netflix Voltron. Like there were really serious situations. There were a lot of funny situations, and they knew when and how to do the funny. Whereas 80s cartoons are just like, hey, I'm an annoying kid character. Let me be super annoying and dumb the whole time. And,
Yeah, like they have
you know,
the kids on board white base, and the only point of them is that like every episode or two they'll show them for like 30 minutes like screaming at each other. It's like why is
yeah.
this here? I don't
Yeah,
like
I'm
them.
not a fan of the annoying kid trope. Like, okay, this is one that you're probably going to disagree with me some on, and a lot of people would because everyone loves him. But Steven Spielberg drives me crazy with this
Mhm.
trope in
Mhm.
so many of his movies. The children, preteens, teenagers are insufferable. They are so stupid. They are so whiny. They, just like, dude, how dumb and annoying and selfish can you be? And like, I feel like he does that trope so much with some of his
Yeah.
child characters that it makes it hard for me to even watch the movies.
Well, I
But
think that's just kind of a thing with a lot of his movies. I'm similar to you. Like I feel like he leans into the whimsy and he leans into the supernatural of things, but in doing so, you can always tell it's him because there's this very campiness to it that
yeah,
it doesn't come across as like even when I was younger, I'd be like, this just doesn't seem funny. I don't know.
this
Like
isn't how children
right,
actually are.
exactly. It's not how. Yes, yes.
Like, here's a good example. So everyone talks about Stranger Things and the 80s influences and all that kind of stuff. So after I had watched the first season or two or whatever of Stranger Things, everyone was talking about, okay, well, what are the influences? You got to watch this. You got to watch this. And one of the primary ones was Goonies. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch Goonies because everyone says it's what, one of the main things that influenced Stranger Things. And my parents both were like, do not watch it. You're going to hate it. It's so dumb. And I was like, no, I'm going to watch it. I hated it. It was like so dumb to me. And I know people love Goonies, but I hated it. And it's just that same kind of feel of like, this is nothing like Stranger Things to me, beyond just children getting into an 80s themed
Yeah.
adventure. But
Have you watched Star Wars Skeleton Crew?
no,
I feel
I have
like it's a
not.
good in between where it actually feels like it has a similar tone to Goonies, but it also doesn't do the whiny thing. I don't know. I feel like it would be a good thing for us to review sometime. I think that show's great. And people overlooked it quite a bit.
Obviously, I
Yeah,
haven't watched
I
it.
I think it's cool. It's a good pirate adventure kind of thing in the
Or
Star Wars universe.
Hondo.
Dude, Hondo. I wish he was in
Man,
it.
they went to that well a
There's
lot,
a
didn't they?
Jedi pirate in this though, so or maybe a
Dude,
Jedi pirate.
does he
That
have a parrot?
no, but he has a droid that's like a pirate like crewmate.
Dude, droids everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. So back to Gundam. We have two more
Yes,
characters
back
to
to
talk
Gundam.
about.
Went on a rant.
Matilda, she's the I don't know what rank she is, but she keeps coming to help like supply the ship and like give them
Is this the
information
one
and
that
take
Amuro has a
reports.
crush on?
Yeah, for some reason instead of Fraw Bow.
They're like
It's so
put a
weird.
line in there about the first time he ever noticed a woman was this woman.
Yeah. But she was like, "Oh,"
Fraubo's
she's
like,
like,
"You
"Oh, I'm
serious,
so
bro?"
proud of you." And then he's like in love for some reason. It's like,
She's a little old for you, dude.
dude, chill out. So she keeps showing up getting like battle reports and she's like, "Yeah, you guys are testing really well, so we're not going to change anything." It's this weird like Truman Show thing where people are watching them fight apparently from the Federation
Yeah.
side, but like
And we're not gonna give you any more
they're
supplies,
not
even though we said we were going to.
right. And she kind of leans into this a little bit. You hear her talking about the new types. We'll hear more about them later, but it it's almost like she keeps wanting to hint at like maybe someone on the crew is being looked at because of this. So it's an interesting takeaway. Then the last guy we see is Rumbarall. He is the pilot of the Goof, who was not messing around.
Check the map,
He
goof.
was awesome.
Yeah, okay, so he's clearly supposed to be a bad guy, but me and
Yeah,
Will are both like, yeah, he's the bomb.
he's
Like,
cool.
he
He's
just
also
punks Amuro.
not a bad guy in some of the other
Dude,
media.
he's just got his wife up there watching him kick
Yeah,
butt.
yeah. And they have their own like personal tank. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty big fan there.
I'm a big
Definitely,
Rumbarall fan. Big Goof
definitely
fan.
good with the goof.
Yeah, I like that it has like like the whip and the shield and like all these crazy like accessories and accoutrements that the other Zaku's don't have. So when he shows up and
Yeah,
fights Amuro, Amuro just doesn't even know what to do because he can't adapt to any situations.
yeah, Amuro panics hardcore. And the guy is clearly just like punking him.
Yep.
But
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I hate Amuro.
yeah, he's pretty annoying.
So we see a fair share of mobile suits in this. We see the Gundam, the RX-78-2. Um, so an interesting tidbit. There's this company in universe called Anaheim Electronics. They make all of the mobile suits. They had some investment in this one too, but they're basically just like cashing out on both sides.
Oh
So
yeah.
the
That's what I was gonna ask
Zaku's,
you.
they don't at the beginning of the show, the Xeon Zaku is like the Zaku 2 is like the best in universe and the goof and all this stuff, right? Like they could defeat any Federation unit because they mention at one point the gun tank is like a super defective unit. Like they don't even know why they're sending these out whenever Amuro was like crying and didn't want to go out with the Gundam and they had the gun tank on the field. So out of nowhere, they've developed this suit that's like 10 times better than the Zaku. So Anaheim Electronics, they're, you know, losing money on this war if no one's fighting each other. So they're like, we got to even the playing field and give them a better one to fight against the thousands and thousands of Zaku's. So
Profiting off of
yeah,
extending the war.
and they don't really ever mention Anaheim. You just see their logos on everything as the show goes on, and I find that very interesting.
Are they from Anaheim in
Maybe they could be.
Los Angeles?
but they play a huge part in like every Gundam series in the Universal Century. They're just constantly making suits for both sides, and no one is ever commenting on the fact that they're doing that in the show. Um,
Dude, everyone's just okay with it.
they are okay with it because the
That's
normal
so
person isn't like inspecting the manufacturer of each suit.
and that is probably realistic. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. You have these like war companies just making things for both sides and just painting over them.
have you ever watched, which obviously it's from books, but have you ever watched the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies?
Yes, those are so good.
It's like Moriarty's whole plan,
Yeah, yeah.
is control all the bandages, all the bullets, everything, sell them to all the different countries, and like ahead of its time, kind of. But yeah, I love those movies. I want
I
Robert
wish
Downey
they would have
Jr. to
made another
quit
one.
doing all the other things he's doing and finish this because they've been talking about the next Sherlock Holmes movie for years, and
Yeah,
they
since
keep
like
saying they
before
are
the
doing
first
it,
Avengers movie, they were talking about this.
and they still haven't done it. And it's like, quit doing Marvel movies and do these Sherlock Holmes movies.
But now they're
But
obligated to do like oh, he's all washed up and old now.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, we have the RX-78-2 crazy unit. They can't even like destroy it, right? It's super powerful, nothing like they've ever seen. And then we have our Zaku's, the chump units. They have this like massive like
yeah, man.
Lewis gun with them.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking when I saw it, Lewis gun.
Yeah,
So that's one thing. So at first, which all shows and movies do this, but it's like, oh, look how tough and awesome these Zaku's are. And then in like 10 minutes, he is just like ripping their atoms apart
dude,
in like
he takes
every
the
episode.
beam saber and just like thrashes it through the
And they
cockpit.
just like explode. I mean,
Yeah.
into these
Well, they have
massive.
nuclear reactors in them. That's their
Okay,
failure
so
point.
that's what. Okay, and so let me ask you about this. So all those the green regular Zaku's
Yeah.
have this thing, it almost looks like an oxygen hose
Yeah.
on the front of it. Every time he'll like go and cut that and then they'll like explode. So is that, which I feel like in the first episode they didn't explode when he cut that, but what is that?
Those are,
I
I
think I
think those
missed
are
that.
like pneumatics or hydraulics. They go through the legs, they go through the torso, and they go into the back and through the head. So, like, whenever you're in space and that gets cut, it depressurizes it and explodes.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that makes sense then
Yeah.
because it didn't explode on the planet
And
or
the
the.
Gundam doesn't have that. The Gundam has like
Yeah.
some kind of like actuators or something.
Okay. Well, that's a very good detail then. So thank you for clearing that up
Yeah.
for me.
And also another thing, the Red Comet, they mentioned that it's 3 times faster. Char has like special like equipment on his that's different than the other ones. So he has like extra like rocket boosters and stuff. So he can actually go 3 times faster than the other Zaku's.
And then he's just sending all of them in with him
Yeah,
to fight and then bailing on them and
dude,
being
like
like, sorry. Here's.
it was so funny whenever he was in the ship with Garma. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I have to go out before you. I'm like your, second in command. I have to go first." And then he just abandons him and like lets him die.
Yeah.
He's very sneaky, very
Yeah.
clever. Dude, the goof is like a Zaku, but it's like
But so much better.
so much better. It has more armor. It has the shield, the whip, all these crazy add-ons. Um, as we can see, the Gundam at first has a really hard time stacking up against them. Um, whether that continues or not, I don't remember. But for now, the
Don't
goof
kill.
is the most powerful Xeon unit that they've faced. And we talked about the gun. The gun cannon's the one that was red. Goodness, I can't talk right now. The gun cannon's the one that's red with the cannons on the shoulders. It's kind of a weakling unit. I think it's like slightly weaker than the Zaku. Um,
I think they would have been well served to put a little more detail into the other.
yeah, and it can't fly either. The Zaku's have jetpacks, but none of the other Federation units, except for like fighter jets, have
Yeah, and
jetpacks.
they're like sending these things into the air
Yeah.
and then
Oh
just
my god.
like the one scene where he lands on that ship and
Yeah.
then he falls off and uh Gundam and Amuro have to grab him. And it's like this was maybe not very well thought out to just have him hovering in the air on a ship when he can't fly. Like
And we'll see this
but
like later. Like in Zeta, the Federation still hasn't developed technology for this. So some units will have jetpacks, but then other units that are similar in, I don't know, price to build like the gun cannon will have these like almost surfboard like things that they fly around on when they're in the atmosphere. Um and if those get blown out, there's no way for them to like recover. Or like they'll send some units in with parachutes.
so what is the Federation's problem? Like
Uh
why are you so big of losers if
I
to
think it's
have
like a monetary thing, honestly. I
so
think they just
somehow
don't have
Xeon
resources.
has more money than
I think it's the kind of situation where they've moved to space and they found like space resources not available on Earth and became super rich super quick. Federation's trying to like recoup that and like take control of it so they can get their people and their money back. And they're kind of, after 8 months of fighting, they've lost 50% of the population. Earth has been like hollowed out
yeah,
by
totally
missiles and
just
satellites and whatnot. So like,
dude, when
I
you
can
told me that
imagine
was the
that's why.
kingdom, I was sad.
Oh yeah, that was sad. I didn't know that
Like,
either.
bro.
Just made it up.
Yeah, just on the spot.
That what an interesting thing for them to put in there though. White
Yeah,
Base
for sure.
was also designed by Amuro's dad. Um,
MIA still.
MIA still, yeah. Um, we haven't really gotten much about it other than like it's different than anything they've ever seen. I can't tell if it's strong or weak yet. Um, I think its main thing it just has a good carrying capacity for units. I think they have like 2 gun cannons on board, a gun tank, Gundam, and
Yeah,
then a
it
bunch
doesn't
of
seem
like
to be a
spare
lot of
parts.
weapons.
No, not at all. They were ill equipped for this. Most of the weapons were destroyed because they were supposed to be loaded on the ship, but Cylinder destroyed them with the Zaku at the beginning of the show. So they should have had two, no, 3 gun tanks, 3 gun cannons, and Gundam. And I think in the manga version, I think they were working on another RX-78, but it got destroyed. Um, and in this show, they don't really upgrade the Gundam as they go, but in the manga, they do upgrade it as they go. So it eventually like gets all these like add-ons and stuff. Um, so that's a interesting thing. But yeah, what do you think about the world of this, like the setting and kind of where they are?
So the Earth situation is interesting to me. I mean, man, pretty sad. Earth is just devastated.
Yeah.
So I find that relatively intriguing. I like the concept of this giant spaceship with like Earth on it,
And
basically.
there's
That's pretty
dozens of those,
cool.
by the way. Side 7
I
is
mean,
one of however
that's where
many.
all their money went
Yeah,
was
for
doing
sure.
that. But
Yeah, because the Federation built those.
I find a lot of the rest of it like super forgettable. A
Yeah.
lot of the space battles and different places they are and everything. Like I feel like I'm just like watching the same thing over and over and
Well, and
they're
I
just like,
I had to
"Oh,
look up
space
where they
battle."
even were at some parts. Like they
Yeah.
mentioned Luna 2, and then they're like, "Oh, we're going to Earth," and they don't say where they're at on Earth. So I had to look that up. They went to Seattle. They were in North America before they go to
Yeah.
Europe, and they just don't mention location enough.
Mm-mm. And then I thought it was a little strange 12th or 13th episode probably they start like describing the dimensions in intricate detail of the kilometers of this ship or whatever and I'm like they didn't do anything like that other in the show or give you any details, but in this, they're, like, spelling out the exact
That's
specifications
funny.
of
They're
it, and
like,
I'm
"In
like,
case anyone
"Why are
wants
you
to build
telling
their
me this?"
own."
Yeah, get the blueprint that I can
Yeah.
go to Home Depot and get, but
Dude, that
just like
that Project Hail Mary movie, people were mad about that because there was a blueprint of the ship in the book, and apparently they changed it for the movie to be a just completely different design.
oh, man.
I actually
I haven't seen it yet.
dude, it may have been one of the best movies that I've seen, like, in a year. It's
Well,
pretty
that was
good.
one thing I saw this the other day, and I don't know if it's true, I just saw it
Mhm.
on social media, so there's your caveat there, but, um, supposedly Ryan Gosling said, "It's not" he said to audiences, "It's not your job to save movie theaters.
Yeah.
It's not your job to come to the movie and support us and all that kinda stuff. It's our job to make movies so good you want to come back to the movie theater."
Yep, I saw that.
And I thought that was awesome because I see this all the time of movie executives and all this stuff totally blaming everything on the consumer. The consumer's too stupid to watch this. Or I've literally seen them say, major movie executives say they're too racist or they're too sexist to come see this movie. Or
Maybe if you didn't spend $12 billion on the advertising for this, you'd make some money.
yeah, I mean, like, make a good movie, and they'll blame, like, "Oh, they don't wanna come to the movie, they wanna do streaming," and it's like, "You mean the streaming for your company that you put the thing
That
on
you're
so I can
losing
watch it
money
from my
on
house?"
still?
Yeah, it's and, like, every movie a lot of these companies do are just they're just taking
This
it on
was
the
an
chin,
Amazon movie too.
and so I love that mindset of, "I'm the consumer, you are the one who has to earn my business, I don't owe
Yeah,
that to you," and,
I
like,
agree.
I can watch her do a bazillion things other than go to the movie theater and pay $30 between a ticket and snacks. So, I thought that was really cool. I do plan on watching it. I haven't decided if I'm going to go to the movie theater or if I'm going to watch it on streaming,
I think
but
either way you do it, it's worth watching. And I think we should do a review on it. I do think it was a very good movie.
the only preview I've seen, it looked fun,
It was
which you
fun.
and me like fun.
There's something towards the end I'm not too big on, but we can talk about that later. Um, this is a different review, but I am very opinionated about something in that movie. But it was a great movie. Can't go wrong. Um,
Oh, but music and art on Gundam. Yeah,
yeah, we've
I don't
talked
think
about
we've
the
gotten
art a lot.
yeah, art, some good, some bad,
Yeah,
for sure.
for
Mostly bad,
sure.
probably, but
You had some different music than I did in the movie. The movie had some really good music, like by specific like Japanese artists. But the show, you just got like the intro, the outro, and then you got that thing in
yeah,
the middle where
man.
it's like, shoo!
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, I have to at least make one comment about the "Ode to Amuro" song
That's
at the
so
end credit.
stupid.
It's
I
so
hate
weird.
it.
I feel like I am listening
Amuro,
to
Amuro.
an R&B love song to Amuro, and it's
Dude,
like, "Bro, what is
my friends and
happening?"
I crack up at that song. It's so
It's
stupid. There's
it's
a
funny.
Char one. It's not in the show for some reason, but it's like a tropical sounding song where they just keep chanting Char.
That's so weird. There's a lot of weirdness in
Yeah,
this, and, like, I skip the first 2.5 minutes of every episode, and I skip
100%.
probably the last 2.5
Yep,
minutes of
yep,
every
yep.
episode, but
Yeah, I wish that
it's not like
Crunchyroll or Netflix still had the movies because you would be watching that entire thing you watch in 2 hours with no intro, outro, filler.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. You got a lot of filler in yours. That's the only thing that I
I was straight up
say.
grinding to try to get this
Yeah.
done before the
If possible, if there is a way to find the dub of the other before the next one, do yourself a favor because it is a slog to get through the show by itself. I hated watching it in TV show form. I had
yeah,
to watch it in
I
movie form.
it's been work for sure. I
Yeah.
actually kinda liked it a little bit better in a way watching it on my phone on YouTube
Yeah.
outside than sitting it by my TV and watching it,
It's one of those
but
shows you cannot just sit and watch. You have to do
no,
stuff while it's
it's
on.
just not intriguing enough
No.
for that. Like, I was sitting there playing Fire Red on my Switch at one
Dude.
point while I was watching it.
You're like, "Come on, I gotta watch this again."
Yeah. And it's weird, it's like I said, I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I
that's
just don't
I could not
like it.
find if we were not reviewing this, or if I wasn't showing someone this, I would not be watching this either. Like, it is just not as good of a show as some of the later stuff is.
It's just there,
Yes.
you know?
They just released a movie on Netflix recently about Bright Noah's son.
Dude,
And
the
it's
thing you thought
the
you
theme
did
song
so
to it is "Oh Sweet Child of Mine."
bad. Dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they couldn't even make a theme song for it. They had to use "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N'
Eh,
Roses. Um, but yeah, that was the music. The intro is not good, in my opinion.
no, I hate the intro.
It's really
I don't
cringe.
need that recap every time
The
thing.
outro is horrible. There's some weird like music things going on. Like when it's playing it has the weird like computerized sounds. You know what I mean? There's like,
Yeah, there's some odd
but then other
sound.
things like the fight music where it's like dun 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 dun. Bing, bing. That one's awesome. I like that one. Anytime a fight is going down in the show, the music is super hype.
Yeah, we like hype. We like hype.
But any other time, it's like kind of not great. Or there's this like you know, like the late 80s, early 90s, like synth sound, like whenever they like sit someone down on
Yeah,
Full House and they're having a conversation with them about something important and it's playing this weird, like starry kind of synth music. They do that a lot too, I've noticed.
big fan of the synth.
Yeah, I do like that. So hype music and synth music I think are good. I think all the other music is kind of weak in this show, personally.
Yeah, very non-notable music
Yes.
for sure.
Um so the
It's kinda
themes.
like you've told me that which I haven't seen this and you have, but it's kinda like you told me we're really just watching this to get to
Yes.
the better series
Yes.
later.
Yeah, you have the original series, you have Zeta, and those are both the same length practically. It's just 3 movies of each. And then there's a final one that closes it out called Char's Counterattack. And then optionally there's also The Origin, and it's about Char. And it's like I think it's like 4 episodes and they're like 40 minutes long or something. And it's made in modern day, so it's a little bit easier on the eyes to watch. Um
Good.
yeah, so yeah, it could go one of two directions. Could go back and watch The Origin, or you could watch Zeta. Those are optional routes. Um, but yeah, the themes of this we've talked about this already. War bad. Um, child
Yeah,
soldiers
very clear
bad.
message.
Nobody
And it
wins.
does I do when I see stuff like this, you know, it just makes me say and I understand, like, I'm not trying to make a political, geopolitical statement, or like, there are times, obviously, where a country has to take military action.
Right.
However, it just makes you feel like, man, like, so many times in history and stuff, it's so pointless, like, it didn't have to
Yeah.
be that way. Somebody was just being so stubborn or so
Yeah.
selfish or whatever that, you know, it leads to death and destruction and war that we didn't have to have, and there's so many times, especially as you get older, you're, like, just shaking your head like, you know, "Why does it have to be this way? Why do people have to be so stubborn?" And, you know, so definitely when I'm watching it, I feel that sometimes, and I'm just like,
And
you know,
it's a
"Why?"
very politically charged show, but not in like a divisive kind of way. It's more of like
Yeah,
this is something that most reasonable people could agree on. That
they're not preaching at you from
right.
a particular political position or whatever, they're just making a commentary on life and
Yeah,
philosophy in
very neutral
general. That
stance. You're an observer of both sides, even though it does focus on one primarily.
yeah, I do like a lot of that type of thing. I think they've handled that well.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to see next? Sorry, give me just a second.
He's laughing about war. The
Oh
horrors of
yeah, you
war
know I
make
am.
Will
No, I
laugh.
was my throat got so dry that I couldn't talk. I'd take a drink of water.
It's
Started
that time of
laughing.
year,
The time of year that
allergies.
I have to drink water.
Yeah, that once a year where you're like a
Yeah,
camel.
just like a camel.
It's like my dog. Okay, side
Your dog's
note
a camel?
about camels and dogs. I don't know, maybe anybody out there can tell me this. I've had several different dogs in my life, different, uh, what do you call it, breeds, mutts, all kind of stuff. I have had one golden retriever and one golden doodle. Both of them are have been extremely stubborn, especially the
Mm,
golden doodle, about drinking water. They will not drink it no matter what, especially this golden doodle. And every now and then he'll just go and drink a ton of water. But like he could be like looking like he's about to die of thirst, and you can offer him water from a water bottle, you can offer him from the hose, from the sink, whatever, and he'll be like, "I don't want your filthy water." And it's just, like, so funny to me that I don't know if that's a golden retriever thing or whatever. I definitely think doodles are weird.
yeah,
Doodles are super weird,
yeah.
and he's very anxious and everything,
You
so
can bring a dog to water, but
you
you
can't
gotta
make him
put the
drink.
bowl in a specific location with a specific temperature of water to make him drink.
And then we have another dog he's a Shih Tzu Bichon mix, and he is not picky about it all. He'll drink out of anything. He'll look at our water bottle if he's thirsty
Mhm.
and be like trying to get us to give him some water out of the water bottle, and he drinks all the time.
Our
So I don't
dog
know.
wouldn't be picky about water, but he preferred when we would have it in, like, a Cool Whip bowl, and then sometimes he would kick his food into the water, and then he wouldn't wanna drink the water if there's
Yeah,
food in it because it's gross, and I don't
yeah,
blame him. That
yeah. I
is
don't either. You
gross.
just wouldn't think they would care, but
Yeah,
they do.
but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, my doodle's super picky about it.
Oh,
So
no. Oh,
that
no.
doesn't sound like a real sentence, but it is.
It is, truly is something
Yeah,
to
so what should we expect next? I guess we
we're on
should
our way to
expect
Europe.
the next 13 episodes or
Oh my
whatever.
gosh. Yeah, good luck. I'm so sorry to put you through
We're
this.
gonna need it. So when are we planning on doing we're gonna have this out in the next few weeks, I believe we
Right, yeah,
decided.
yeah. We'll do Gundam 1 in the next few weeks, or I guess every other week we'll do a review, you think? Um,
Yeah, and we were gonna do a discussion on Batman Universe
yes,
in
yes. Next
between.
week is Batman Universe discussion. Our
If you're
f
not familiar with Batman Universe, that was a limited short series comic run
Yep.
of Batman, came out a few years ago, and Batman is just kinda going on some wild adventures
With
through.
characters you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and it's a lot more like I mean, there's some intense stuff, but it's primarily more like lighthearted, whimsical,
Mhm.
and Will and I are both huge fans of that series. I've only read through it once, but I loved it, and so we're gonna read through that again and talk about
Any
it.
Batman
One of our
comic that has dinosaurs in it, you know
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
that one seals it for you as this comic rocks, but
It's so good. But yeah, we'll do a discussion. We're gonna separate comic stuff from our typical reviews. We'll have reviews like allocated for TV shows and movies. My thought, at least, we do the rest of the original Gundam series every other week. So we'll do this one this upcoming Tuesday. Then we'll have our Batman comic discussion on Batman Universe. Then we'll have Gundam 2. Following that, what was the topic that we were gonna? It was Pokemon related, right? It was our top
was it
five.
Pokemon Hot
hot takes. Yeah, top 5 Pokemon hot takes, and then the following week will be Gundam 3. And we can, I think we can make like some kind of like post about that on YouTube or something. Possibly have just like a tentative schedule. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
then
Will and I are both pretty new to a lot of this stuff, so
yeah,
we're working out, figuring out our YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff.
but yeah, if you have any suggestions too, let us know.
Yeah,
Um,
we would appreciate it.
but I think we should split up any future Gundam stuff and do some other reviews in between. I want to do some reviews about games. I wouldn't mind if we did like you're doing Pokemon Fire Red right now, and so am I. I think that would be a great one to do.
Oh yeah, dude,
Maybe
I
off
could
the
talk about
dude.
Fire Red all
Yeah,
day.
let's plan for that. Let's make that our next like upcoming review after we're done with Gundam, and then
I'm honestly I'm playing through it right now, and then I'm probably going to go back soon and play through it again with a
really,
different.
dude.
So I won't get into a lot because I want to save it for the discussion. But the reason I'm saying this is for the first time ever, because I've like never had anybody to trade with or whatever. I decided this time I was going to use my old Switch and my Switch 2, and I was going to have Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur.
Whoa,
Well, I didn't think through some things when I did that. And so it has kind of complicated my processes and my team. And I had actually forgotten about a few things in the game that are have made it not be as optimum as I wanted. So I'm going to play through like that. And then I plan on doing a separate playthrough where I say, I am just going to make what I think the best possible team is. And I'm going to try to not have a single Pokemon
Zubat,
faint the entire game.
Bellsprout,
Yeah.
Nidoran,
Like, I
Pidgey.
usually try to just play where I try not to have any of my Pokemon faint, but my primary thing is just try
Yeah,
not to lose the battle the
I
whole
don't
game.
like Pokemon fainting. It makes me sad.
Yes, I agree. Feel like I've let them down.
Yeah,
But I really wanna get through a whole playthrough where not a single Pokemon faints. But so I'm gonna try to do that. But
I want to try to
anyway,
get our Legend ZA review on YouTube. I've been kind of
yes, dude.
lazy about
Yeah,
that.
do
I'm
that.
so sorry. I
Well,
keep
it's just
forgetting.
really a complicated process for us to
Yeah, it's on
fix.
audio streams, but yeah, I need to get that done.
I think that was the first one we actually recorded, and we didn't have this all set up properly at the time, and so it's on
Mm-hmm.
MP3 and
Yep.
can't upload that to YouTube, so we're trying to get I think we do have it posted on the podcast
Yeah,
platform.
it's on the podcast platforms, but we need to
Have it.
I feel like it might do some numbers on YouTube.
Yeah,
Like more than one
we're
maybe, hopefully.
yeah, Ryan, let us know what we can do to get more
Yeah.
than one
He's not
viewer.
watching this one. He doesn't watch
Oh,
Gundam.
that's true, yeah, I thought about that earlier, I was like,
Yeah.
Ryan's not
This is
even
a
gonna
very
watch.
niche one.
Yeah.
Um
Maybe there's some Gundam fans out there named
yeah.
Ryan, though, I mean,
Yeah, any Gundam fan named Ryan, let us
can you
know.
help us out?
Just have an army of Ryans replying to the
Yeah.
video. Oh man. I think we should
Um,
stream a game sometime too. I've been wanting
oh,
to
I
show
wanna do
you
that.
Alan Wake.
Yeah.
What games were
I
you
wanted to
thinking?
stream Pokemon, but
Right.
you were saying my laptop probably couldn't handle it. I don't know if there's a
Yeah,
way I
we
could record it and then upload it. I don't know if that would be easier or not,
it
but
might be kind of funky. We could do that.
or we
Um
could just stream yours.
yeah, if we just stream one and then like maybe we work together and pick things. There's an app that I can use that you could like take control of the screen too with a controller plugged in, so we could like both have control over it. And I can do like Emerald. We could do Emerald that way. If that sounds good.
Yeah, we've been wanting to do some other Pokemon games like we had
True.
talked about Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, or Ruby Sapphire Emerald, you know. I I'm always game to play a
Dude,
Pokemon game.
you wanna stream some Emerald sometime?
Yeah, I have never played Emerald.
What? Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
I've
Let's
literally never
let's
played
aim
it. I've
for
played Ruby and
streaming
Sapphire.
Emerald
I played
and Alan
Scarlet.
Wake.
Yeah.
Have some good stuff going on. We'll
I
come up
still
with a
wanna
schedule for that.
Monster Hunter again that you
Oh
talked
yeah,
me
I,
into
I
buying.
still haven't played
But
that yet
like,
either. I just haven't had
I've been
time.
I've been doing so many other things lately, I haven't really played any video games
That's how
except
I've
Fire Red.
been. I got into a game recently. You know how I was telling you I really like that Mafia game? I started playing
Yeah.
Mafia 2, and it takes place in like the 40s and 50s, and it's pretty cool. I've gotten a good bit through that. I was playing it right before the podcast today. And then I still haven't finished Persona 5. This game is the longest game I've ever played. It is like I'm almost to 200 hours in this game. It is getting annoying. I started Persona 4 on my Switch. I started Fire Red again on my Switch. I'm playing Pocopia. I would like to do a review of Pocopia at some point.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what you thought about it. I
Yeah,
haven't played it.
dude, you should try it. You know, at first I was like, I don't know if it'd be the kind of game for him. I think you might actually enjoy this. There's this very eerie feeling to the world where there's been some kind of like apocalypse and people in Pokemon have just become disappeared from the planet for some reason, and you're sort of exploring those things, but you're also interacting with the Pokemon. It's very cute, very like friendship focused with that. It's not necessarily super build focused yet, but I could be wrong.
That's the thing that worries me is
Yeah,
I am
I'm a little
terrible.
worried about that too. It seems mostly like you're collecting resources sometimes and crafting things or buying things, but you're mostly just trying to make habitats that Pokemon like to live in. So, I wouldn't mind streaming when Tamagotchi Life comes out. We can create an island with characters and like make characters to go on that. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
but yeah, we'll just we'll just see how this all works out. Get a schedule going. Yeah, next week Batman Universe. Week after Gundam 2.
Gundam 2.
What should we expect next in Gundam?
More space battles, more Char and Amuro
Mm,
chasing each other.
yes, yes, yes.
That's what I guess.
All right. And
And
any other things?
over under. Give me the over under. How
Over
many times they say the word Amuro in Gundam 2? I'm over under 100.
over under 250.
250, so you're going way over, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they
I'm not
gotta say it
counting
at
it.
least
I'm
at
not.
least 5 or yeah, no. They gotta say it at least 5 or
Hey
10 times an
Jarvis, tell me how
episode.
many times they say Amuro.
There's probably some AI out there that will say how many times.
It sounds like the Haro. We didn't even talk about the little robot, the Haro that he has as a
Oh,
pet.
yeah, I kinda like the little
He's
robot.
kind of cute. I don't like that it has arms and legs that pop out. That does bother me.
It reminds me of something. Oh, I think it's, Chingling or whatever, the little
Oh
Pokemon that
yeah,
looks like
dude.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, the one that turns into Chimecho.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that it evolved into
I think
Chimecho.
so.
Are you sure?
I thought so. Maybe Chimecho is a single Pokemon, but yeah,
Yeah, I
no, it
thought it was.
is.
Oh, no. Okay, you're
Yeah,
right,
because I
yeah. I didn't
recognized
know
it
that.
from the face.
Wow, how did I not know that? Probably because I never use these Pokemon.
What are you, some kind of new type?
Yeah, dude.
Man,
Sorry,
you think
listener.
we'll see any new types in the next episode?
I don't know, man. I think so.
All right. You think we'll
I
see
think I
Amuro's
think
dad?
his I think Amuro's friends are about to get, mobile suits,
That'd be cool.
like Voltron, kinda.
Yeah, except way less cool.
Way less
They
cool.
don't turn into lions, they turn into
Yeah,
fighter jets.
lions with different powers.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get off here, give me your favorite lions in
Oh,
Voltron.
my favorite. Ah, that's tough. The blue
It is tough.
one is awesome. I'd say blue and pink. Black is pretty cool because it's like the largest lion, but I'd say blue and pink are my favorite. Blue's
You
my
mean red?
favorite. Red, sorry. I forgot
Yeah, blue
'cause,
and red are my favorite too. Cause she
oh,
wears
yeah,
pink
because she
and
wears
blue.
pink and then continues to pilot either one sometimes.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that they kept their armor, but then it also gets kinda weird. You're like, Lance is wearing blue and the red lion, and she's wearing
Yeah,
pink and blue lion, and Keith is wearing red in the black
I do
lion.
think in a way it would have made it more confusing if they had been wearing the color of the lion every time they switched. So I do appreciate the way they did it.
Yeah, I'm actually glad they left it that way, that they kept their armor.
Dude,
But yeah, blue and red lions to me are the best.
did you ever hang up those New York Comic Con
Uh,
posters?
yeah, I did. The only problem I have is for some reason I have this spot on the wall where nothing wants to stay on the wall
Oh, is
and
it
it
like a
just keeps
temperature
falling
thing?
off. Yeah, I don't know. We're working on it. I'm probably gonna use, like, nails or something
Mm,
and just hang it that way,
fingernails?
but the only poster that will not stay up is the Lance poster, which is really frustrating
Nah,
for me because
that's
Lance is my
unfortunate.
guy. I love Lance. But
Dude, those are so
so
cool.
oh, they're awesome, dude. Would
Um,
I join the coalition? You better believe I would join the coalition,
nah.
especially if Karan's in it, dude.
Dude, he's so cool. He's so
Did
funny.
you know, Peter Cullen voiced Karan in the original series?
No, I didn't know that.
Isn't that a change of tone?
That is a massive change of tone. Voltron, transform and roll out.
I'm going to turn into a truck now.
Pack it up, pack it in. Let
All right, I guess we should probably close this episode out.
Yep.
We're getting close to this.
Alright. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please share
Yes,
this. Please. I beg of you.
please.
Please watch our show.
We are relying on it. We have to feed our families.
The network is not gonna like this. Ratings are down. We're starving. They're starving. I've been enlisted in
Yeah,
the
dude.
Federation.
They would put us in one of those Zaku's and send us
Dude,
out to get watered.
dude, have you seen the ball? Gundam ball. Dude, they would send us out in one of these.
Oh, dude, we'd be toast, bro. No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. It's like a
Cannon fodder.
mechanical thing where they use it to fix the outside of ships. But it has a
They're like,
cannon
"Please
mounted to
get
the
it."
top for some reason.
I mean, why not, dude? You
Yeah.
might get attacked.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like if you're piloting a Segway and they've strapped like a warthog cannon to it because like
With
they're like, oh, you might get attacked. Well, yeah. Well, now people are going to try to attack me because I have a mounted gun on my Segway.
That's true. That's
It
true.
makes it way scarier. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see one of those soon, but
I bet we will.
I bet we won't. I'm just kidding. I just
Oh,
want to be
you would
contrary.
know.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. So many microplastics from putting together Gundams. I don't remember a thing. Early age
Yeah,
dementia.
you'll have to put your Gundams on here on the channel.
Nah. We'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe I do a time lapse and review of my Perfect Grade Unleashed new Gundam. That'd be cool.
yeah, you need to do that. People like that kind of thing.
It's very hard to obtain, so we'll see what
I'm not a
happens.
model builder myself, so
I'm a model.
yeah,
Like Kramer in that one episode of Seinfeld.
yeah. Oh man, Kramer is the
Dude,
best
we could talk
character.
about Seinfeld sometime. I'd love
Yeah,
to.
I'm a big fan of Kramer and Newman.
Dude, we gotta talk about Seinfeld sometime.
Dude, man.
Alright, well, thanks for watching. Any final words?
Uh, don't get in a Zaku, whatever you do. That's
Ryan,
a
if you're
bad idea.
seeing this, type 1 through 10 backwards in the comment below.
Yeah, Ryan, we need a special comment from you every episode.
Alright.
Ryan's our top fan right now.
He is our top fan. Top 100. Top 1.
Top one
Top
for
of
sure.
Chico. Bye-bye.